The promise of charcoal feels like making a deal with the devil in a way. You can have this incredible contrast and tone, but there are going to be some hidden compromises. Kind of reminds me of that old movie Bedazzled, where the character gets anything he wishes for from the devil, but there's always this weird hidden cost. Also, this video is sponsored by Squarespace, but I'll tell you more about them later. For those of you who are new here, my name is Jono, and I do pencil drawings. I've been working with pencil for years now, and every now and then I dip a toe into charcoal, but then put it right back out because something about the medium always seems to baffle me. Until now, I hope. Let's see. To explore the medium, I'm using a series of drawing references I took last year. These are figures beneath fabric. I think the soft tones and gradients are going to be the perfect challenge for me. I'm not very good with charcoal, but I really want to be, so maybe I'll be able to share some really useful things while I try and figure it out. The thing that really helped me this time was forcing a constraint. I started a drawing with Willow charcoal as an experiment, and I decided to try and stick to it exclusively. It was frustrating, and there was a huge temptation to use compressed charcoal for some of the dark areas, but I stuck with it, and it felt like the medium opened up. I think there is something to be said about the problem solving of a medium. I've spoken before how I view textures as a puzzle and that they need to be solved. And I felt a very similar feeling with this new medium. Just a quick note here for those who haven't experimented. Willow charcoal is different from compressed charcoal in that it's raw willow tree vines that have been turned into charcoal. And that's why the sticks look this way. But when you apply it, it has a much different texture to the way that compressed charcoal looks and behaves. This part over here was a great little lesson for me. I don't have a good sense of how to get a smooth gradient with willow charcoal, so I just had to apply it and then smudge it with my finger. Seeing how far I could spread it and get a pretty smooth tone is helping me to develop a sense of how far I can push the medium. I'm still not really sure about erasing it though. I did a second drawing of a similar subject matter, and I constrained myself this time to just compressed charcoal, which also felt really frustrating at first, almost longing to be able to use willow charcoal in this one, but sticking with it, doing just one small step at a time. It finally felt like I broke through, particularly with being able to convince the patchiness of compressed charcoal to smoothen out with a couple of passes. Comparing tools and technique, with these two mediums, I feel like charcoal is very tool heavy, meaning I think that the tools that you use with charcoal matter a lot more than with graphite. But I think my judgment might be skewed here. With graphite, I mostly just think about technique, and maybe to be honest here, I suspect because I'm so familiar with the medium, it's difficult to compare. Whereas with charcoal, using the wrong tool just feels so punishing. When I was first thinking of this, I thought maybe charcoal leaned heavier on the tools than graphite, meaning you can't hope to find the textures you're looking for if you don't have the right brushes or cotton wool or even the right type of charcoal. Whereas graphite, it just feels like you can achieve the same results you want from a 2H while using a 2B, for example, just by pressing way softer. So it's been an adjustment for me to realize that the tools that you're using with charcoal really do matter a lot, and at this stage it's a little bit difficult for me to gauge whether my experience with graphite is clouding my judgment here a little bit. Coming from graphite, there's a great deal of expectation management that I have to deal with. I feel like graphite, when you apply it, if you brush over it with a brush or with cotton wool, you can see how it's going to react almost immediately. It's almost like there's an oily nature to it, meaning if you wipe it, you can kind of spread it evenly. But with charcoal, there's this patchiness that feels rough and uncertain to me. My instinct with this was to panic and try again with a different tool or with a different type of charcoal, but it's actually just part of the nature of the medium. But if you keep trying with it, it softens into the tone and the textures I'm looking for. With graphite, smoothness and tone arrive separately. The smoothness is almost always there and you slowly build up the tone. But with charcoal, they kind of arrive at the same time. You have to massage the smoothness in, and by the time you've massaged that smoothness in, you'll have an idea of what the tone is going to be at the same time. I hope that makes sense. It's a really subtle distinction, but it's played a huge part in how I work with the medium. Another learning I've had on my voyage through this medium has been that you always have to manipulate the charcoal with a secondary tool. I mean, you don't have to, but if you're trying to do hyperrealism, raw charcoal on paper will always look very charcoal-like. It's very loose and very rough, which is very beautiful in different contexts. But for the specific context that I'm trying to achieve, to get those beautiful, subtle, smooth gradients, you will have to manipulate it with your palette of weird charcoal tools. Whereas graphite sometimes really loves to just be applied directly, and many drawing artists almost never blend outside of their first application. So charcoal, I now know, will always need to be pushed around once it's on the paper, but also the way you erase it is very different to graphite. Removing charcoal has been frustrating for me. It's kind of stubborn. If you want to remove it softly, you don't use an eraser. What you want to use, weirdly, is your blending tool, the same one that you use to apply soft amounts of charcoal, but now you're pressing even harder, which really messes with me because with graphite, there is a basic understanding that harder means darker almost across the board, but with charcoal, this will remove it. Kind of. If you really want to remove a patch, you can use your kneadable eraser, but this will give you pretty stark, hard lines. And if you really, really want to go back to pure white, you just can't. There has been a lot of getting used to that for me. Charcoal is also a lot more sensitive to the hardness of the grade. With graphite, I can use an 8B pencil and still get extremely light tone, whereas the difference between hard charcoal and soft charcoal can't really be reconciled. You just can't get light tone with soft charcoal. Or maybe this is just me. You can let me know in the comments if this is something you know how to do. But if you want to get light tone, what I'm learning is you either have to use Willow charcoal, or I've found this Derwent light charcoal, which can be applied extremely softly and gives me that very soft tone that I'm looking for after I've massaged it in with a brush or with cotton wool to get it smooth again. I know that this is all sounding like quite a harsh critique of charcoal, especially versus graphite, which is a medium I do have a lot of love for. But what you do get from charcoal is a richness of tone and a texture that you just can't find with pencil. A lot of what I've been sharing are my frustrations with the medium and how it feels less forgiving to work with than with graphite. But all of that is for a payoff that really might be worth it. The texture of charcoal is something special. And of course, the tone, charcoal just goes so much darker than graphite. And while I've spent so many years finding ways of getting graphite to go extremely dark, it often comes at a price as well, from using solvents or extremely expensive papers or just the time-intensive techniques that you need to get graphite that dark. Charcoal just naturally is very dark and rich. And while it's not my medium of choice, forcing myself to spend time with it has shown me some extremely beautiful tones and textures that I just really love and want to try and explore a bit more. So this is kind of where I'm at the moment. I'm still getting bamboozled by this medium, but I'm learning new tricks and ways of doing things. I'm cultivating new passion and love for drawing, which is such a wonderful feeling, especially in this time of recovering my energy. It's been a really welcomed new flavor in my practice. So I'm going to keep experimenting, and I'll keep taking notes along the way and sharing those with you. Also, before I end this video, I just want to give a quick thank you to this video sponsor, Squarespace. I've been working with them for a couple of years now, and they've played a huge role in my career, not only in sponsoring these videos and helping me maintain this channel, but more importantly, early on in my career, I was looking for a way to showcase my work and make it easy for collectors to find me and get in touch with me. And I didn't have time to learn HTML and to build a beautiful, reliable website. And I found that Squarespace did all of that effortlessly. I never had to patch or upgrade anything. I could register a domain with them and set up an online store. And most importantly, I could design a portfolio and show my work the way that I wanted to. Also, every time I got stuck, their amazing support team helped me out instantly. So if you're looking at building a website, give Squarespace a try. And if you decide that you love them, use this offer code and get 10% off your first purchase. There we go. I really hope that this is helpful for anyone who's wanting to learn charcoal. I think it's not the same position that I've come in with teaching drawing with graphite. That's something that I feel so comfortable with. It's a medium that I feel like I know inside and out. And I think that that is a really strong place to teach from, but it's also really wonderful to teach from a place of mutual discovery. And I think that's where I'm at with charcoal, which is a really exciting one. I know what charcoal should be able to achieve, so I know what we can get to, but I'm not there yet. And I think it's really special to be able to share that with anyone who's kind of along the same path, and we can share information. So if you know stuff that I don't know, please share it in the comments and help me. And if there's stuff that's helping you along the way, yeah, leave a like. It would help me and the channel out in a huge way. As always, thanks for the support, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.